Hey, it's Fat O. No, I'm just kidding. It is GZTV. We are back with another video. I have to be quiet. It's like 1 in the fucking morning. I just have to record this and then maybe edit it for a little bit before I go to bed. But we are here with a new episode of Dexter Resurrection that just came out on Friday. I went on a trip over the weekend, so I wasn't able to record, but we are here Sunday late at night before the next school week starts. So we're just going to kind of talk about it, and I do have to say there are some story cracks that are starting to show as we near another potentially divisive finale. The show kind of loses steam in this episode, which really sucks. And warning, there are spoilers ahead. This is a spoiler review. We literally discuss everything that happens in every single episode of this show. So if you haven't watched this episode and you're watching this video, please don't. It's not good. This episode is called The Kill Room Where It Happens. It features a dangerously close call between Dexter Morgan and his former Miami Metro colleague and friend Angel Batista. So there's that whole thing going on that's continuing to kind of boil over. It also results in Leon Prater discovering more background info on Red than Dexter would have liked, potentially placing Harrison in the crossfire, which is fucking crazy. And some people were saying this was a filler episode. I don't agree with that. I do think this has a point to it, but is an iffy episode for sure. Dexter's season-long plan to take out all the members of Prater's Kill Club comes to an end, which is very interesting. I think that's kind of a cool decision they decided to go with, given that Batista is searching for him. Obviously, Eric Stone Street's Al, known to the FBI as Rapunzel, leaves New York unexpectedly, just out of nowhere. He wants to go back to Wisconsin and go home. Dexter then takes his unused aggression out on Vinny, the cruel landlord of Harrison's friend Elsa, whom he bends Harry's code for to justify putting him on his kill table, and he kind of plays it off as like, oh, I'm just scaring him, but really he was actually going to kill him, and I probably wouldn't have fit the code. It would kind of bend the rules a little bit, and I do think it's really cool actually that Dexter got involved with this whole landlord situation. I didn't expect that storyline to make it out much, but it's kind of cool here. Not bad. Meanwhile, Harrison finds a new love interest in Gigi after his and Elsa's potential romance doesn't take off. Good for Harrison. I'm really happy for him to move on because Elsa's kind of a bitch for what she was doing. I understand like he tried to kind of force a relationship, but like I like that Gigi's here for Harrison to kind of have someone there. I think that's awesome. I really like Gigi's character, and she's fucking gorgeous too. While Harrison enjoys the NYC nightlife, Dexter indulges in threatening Vinny before Batista arrives to crash his private party. Batista looks on in awe at Dexter's kill room, thinking he finally has the proof he needs to take down the Bay Harbor Butcher. It gets a little shaky. He talks with the NYPD and all that stuff. So let's get into it. Giant discussion time. I think Dexter as a character is kind of getting into things is shockingly messy and uncalculated, especially in this episode. One of the more interesting developments in this episode is Dexter's accidental betrayal of Blessing's trust, resulting in him telling Blessing's daughter that her father was kidnapped by a warlord and forced to be a child soldier. Now, he didn't really have to do this. There was like really no reason for him to say that info. Nothing really led to it. He just kind of like blurted it out. His big mouth let out. Sorry, my face is a little oily. My bad. I worked out and I didn't really feel like showering right now. So there you go. We don't take showers around here, but this reveals a new, much darker side of Blessing that supports the theory that he could be the New York Ripper after all. Again, things are bubbling as the New York Ripper finally comes to light, as that storyline's kind of going on in the background. Fans are going to continue to speculate, and I think that makes for a really awesome season so far. Now, is this episode the greatest? No, but we have that developing. We have Blessing starting to seem like he has a purpose in the show. All along, it seemed like a lending hand, just helping Dexter find some hospitality, but now it's like, oh, he's like a big part of a lot of things here. Dexter was notably unhinged in last episode. We talked about that. You can go watch my video now, leading him to all but confess he was the Bay Harbor Butcher to Batista and offer blood spatter analysis to the NYPD detective who suspects Harrison of murder. He's just kind of being cocky. I feel like he's just being arrogant, kind of showing his nuts here, all that stuff. In this episode, however, Dexter gets uncharacteristically sloppy. Like, this is even worse. Like, it just continues to kind of go on a deep spiral. Now, maybe the writers are meaning to do that, and it's definitely an interesting thing to kind of explore with Dexter's character, but not a lot of people are going to like that. I'm going to tell you this right now, because it's very uncharacteristic of Dexter. Again, revealing Blessing's biggest secret and letting Vinny escape from his kill room, only to nearly get caught in the act by Batista. This is the first time Batista's nearly caught him doing it. Now, obviously, like, Deborah's come close. I think Maria LaGuerta's come close. There's been plenty of close calls. Agent Dokes, all of these different people in the force over the years that kind of had their suspicions on Dexter. He's kind of a weirdo, blood spatter analyst, kind of to himself, socially unaware of things. But it's the first time Batista's done it, and Batista's like Dexter's best friend in the force. I mean, besides like Masuka, Batista's it. He is his friend for life. So it was interesting to see that. It's important to note that Dexter had literally just been in Vinny's Vinny's office in an attempt to confront him about the black mold in Elsa's apartment. Both Vinny and his assistant Lyanne saw Dexter's face and his aggressive intrusion. In this way, Dexter seems to have made himself uncharacteristically vulnerable by taking risk to benefit Harrison. Letting Vinny escape could end up coming back to haunt him by the end of this season, as we have 2 episodes left to go. It's going to be very interesting moving forward, and I'm very curious on how they kind of handle these things. Most significantly of all, Dexter loses his guard long enough for Charlie and Prater to discover Harrison. So far, that is probably the most intriguing thing that comes out of this episode, is that Red doesn't seem all like he's cut out to be by Prater and Charlie has these suspicions, and there's scenes in this episode where she's kind of like questioning Prater and being like, let me just do my fucking job. I have a bad feeling about this guy. And you kind of support her in that sense. Obviously, you want Dexter to win, but you kind of support her in that sense. So there you go. They're now one step closer to uncovering the truth that he is actually Dexter Morgan, as everyone else is kind of getting in on him, and eventually even the true Bay Harbor Butcher, which could feasibly play to or against Dexter's favor. I mean, but who knows? Prater could find out he's the Bay Harbor Butcher and just be a glazer. I don't fucking know. Prater could be upset that Dexter lied to him, since, as noted in the previous episode, honesty is the best policy with him. On the other hand, Prater is such a serial killer fanatic that he could be overjoyed to be in the presence of the legendary Bay Harbor Butcher, unless Dex can somehow keep up his Red persona and maybe try to save himself. And again, that is going to be very, very interesting to see how he reacts to everything. Also, Quinn surprisingly kind of has like this dispassionate return. There could be trouble with Batista's case. Again, I kind of said it in previous videos, like Joseph Quinn could possibly come back in the series. I'm actually really happy they decided to bring him back here and possibly involve him in the last couple of episodes, at least to this first season. I think it's great. I mean, considering all that Batista and Quinn have been through together at Miami Metro in the original Dexter series, it's tough to watch Quinn hand over information about Batista to Detective Wallace so willingly, kind of snitching on him, which it's kind of fucked up, honestly, like kind of breaks the bond they had. But I don't know, it's disappointing and somewhat odd that Quinn didn't stand up for Angel more, at least express more concern about his objective in New York. I do like the appearance of Quinn, but I will say the acting really wasn't great with him here. I don't know. Even though Quinn didn't add much context in defense of Angel, Dexter's gaslighting of Batista's well-being has convinced Wallace to the point where he seems to have lost all credibility. He retired from the force, he's not an actual active police officer, so he has no business really working with the NYPD and bringing up random-ass cold cases. I mean, if you want to put a tip on a phone line, that's really about all you can do if you're not an officer. Now that Wallace knows Batista is no longer an active police officer and how anal she is, like, there's no way she will believe a word he says, even after stepping into Dexter's kill room, because when they get there, it's a fucking disaster. I mean, seriously. I mean, there's frankly too much history between Batista and Quinn for this type of uncaring response from Quinn here. Again, I like that he's in the show, but it does not make sense how he handled this. It's true, Batista didn't tell Quinn why he was going to New York, but Quinn didn't even ask if something was wrong. Quinn could end up being what Batista was in New Blood, going after Dexter, and the next season possibly, because we know, again, I say this in all these videos, this show is going to have multiple seasons, which again, I'm a huge fucking fan of, because as you guys just saw, unfortunately, Original Sin will not be continuing, which really fucking sucks. That's a huge blow to the Dexter universe community, but hey, we still have Resurrection probably for 3 to 4 seasons, which I'm pretty excited for. But kind of just sticking to the present here, I mean, if something happens to Angel in this season, yeah, Joseph Quinn could be the next guy. I mean, that would suck. No one's gonna want Batista to die, and if they decide to do that, that's really shitty of them as writers to do, but there's something. This Quinn scene, though brief, may be the point where the cracks begin to show in this show. For a franchise that's known for infamously not sticking the landing on its multiple finale attempts, this could be the beginning of an unfortunate downturn to yet another divisive Dexter season ending. The first 4 or 5 seasons of the original series were fucking fantastic. They were never good at finishing after that. Like, the next 5, 6 seasons total of this show in this universe weren't great. I think Original Sin was fine, but now that we know that we're not getting another season, it really kind of fucking sucks to be left on some of those notes. So, I don't know. That said, there's still plenty of intrigue left in this show, especially in this season, because that's where we're at now that Prater knows about Harrison and may connect the dots about Dexter's true identity. I don't know how much he knows about the Bay Harbor Butcher. He has his stuff in his room, like in his little vault thingy. I don't know how much he's looked into him, but it's definitely going to be interesting moving forward to see what happens with that. His reaction will determine everything in the final 2 episodes of the season, as will Wallace's response to discovering Angel is retired from the force. So there you have it. And getting into a review, I think we can just break it down into pros and cons. Getting into the pros, the good things, this episode ends on a gripping cliffhanger that could finally expose Dexter. There are a lot of things kind of stacking against him. You know, the fact that Praetor finds out he has a son. Oh, Red. He didn't do the quotations, obviously, but I'm sure he's thinking it in his mind. I didn't know you had a son. Like, it's a lot of great stuff moving forward. Obviously, there are some uncharacteristic Dexter choices. They're questionable. It's still very entertaining. I still think it does move the storyline forward really well, and Dexter making mistakes really reminds you of like the original Sin Days and like the beginning of the original series, where he was making all these mistakes and he was facing a lot of consequences, and it made the episodes very intense and intriguing. So that could happen here, and that could be very fun. Harrison and Blessing's characters are further developed as Batista gains traction on Dexter. Blessing actually has kind of like a purpose here for once, you know, again, fans speculating the whole thing of him being the New York Ripper. That's going to be great. And Harrison, you know, finding a love interest, getting into the criminology world, and continuing to be the person he is. Just kind of a con here. Some story choices aren't as strong in this episode as in past episodes. I don't think this episode is terrible by any means. I just think that some of the writing is pretty weak, especially with Joseph Quinn. I do think Joseph Quinn's one of the worst parts of this episode. I don't know. He really just didn't act like himself there. I don't know if they were lazy, whatever. So I think with that being said, we can wrap up this video. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it has been your boy GZTV. Every single week, Dexter Resurrections for the next 2 more weeks, actually. We have 2 more episodes, which is fucking insane to think about. We have that. We have the MCU we're watching through. We're just going to figure it out as we go. NFL videos are coming out soon. The NBA season's going to be on in a couple of months. Sports are kicking back up, but for now, we're going to kind of stick to the entertainment stuff.